welcome back to our next episode here at Aquaponics. My name is Justin, and I'm going to be showing you today how we do our seedlings. We've had a lot of people asking us, how do you go about planting your own seeds? Because to be honest, when I first started farming, I couldn't get this right, and it was so frustrating, and it almost put me off farming. So I want to share with you guys the secret behind a successful germination. So in this episode, we're going to be looking at the germination of two crops, lettuce and spring onion. Now the reason why I've chosen those two crops is one of them requires what we call cold germination, the other requires warm germination. So what we're going to be doing is we'll do them both, and we're going to take you through that germination process, and as we get to there, I'm going to explain to you exactly how that works. So what are the tools that you need to plant? Well, first of all, you need a seedling tray. Now, seedling trays come in different shapes and sizes, everything from 6 seedlings up to normally about 220. What I've got here is a roller. Now, this helps me get equal depth on every seed. Very, very important. If you don't have a roller, well, then I recommend just getting something like this, that you can measure the depth of that seed, and I'll show you how we use that. The other things that we've got is our seedling mix. So there's two key components. The first is peat. Now this is black peat, and what we use this for is to really help retain the water around the seedling. So make sure you get some nice fine peat that doesn't have lots of husks and sticks in it. If you can't get normal like black peat, you can use things like cocoa peat. Just make sure that it is not salt washed, so it doesn't contain any salt residue. The second ingredient is vermiculite. Vermiculite is locally mined here in South Africa. Now, the magic thing with vermiculite is that it helps keep the aeration right for that seedling. So what we do is simply get a container to mix them in, and you've got to go equal parts. So for every 1 scoop of peat, I'm going to do 2 scoops of peat here. I'm going to put 2 scoops of vermiculite. Now, you can mix up the ratios a bit, but for me I found that at 50%, 50% works really, really well. So let's go ahead and add another 2 scoops of peat. And another 2 scoops of vermiculite. Okay, so now the next important thing is to give it a good mix. But what you'll notice is it's quite dry. When I squeeze it, it's not holding any shape. Now that means I need to add some water. But typically I give it a good mix first, because when it's a bit dry I can mix it up well. And then I just take a bit of water, put a bit in at a time, mix some more. And I'll show you the exact amount of density you're looking for on the final mix. So that absorbs the water, that's the peat soaking up the water so that my seedlings don't run dry. Still not really holding its shape perfectly. A little bit more water. Let's do a test. So the squeeze test is when I squeeze my mix, it must hold its shape without falling apart. Now I'll show you what happens in one little section if I add too much water, and I, for example, take that. When I squeeze it, if water comes out, that's too much water, alright? Even though it holds its shape, I mustn't have any water coming out of it. So mix that in. Now when I squeeze it, it's holding a very nice firm shape. There we go. Beautiful. One more squeeze test, no water coming out, and that's holding its shape. That's perfect. Alright, so my potting mix is now ready. So I always like to work on a tabletop for 2 reasons. One is if mix falls off, I can scoop it up so I don't waste it. And then I pour it in over my seedling tray. and I mix it all evenly across the whole tray. If I do have little sticks like that, just please remove them. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing is compressing this slightly to a depth that I need to plant my seed. That's where something like this comes in very handy. Obviously not everyone has one, but if you do a lot of planting, this will save you an enormous amount of time. So I do a few rolls. As you'll see, I'm missing one bobble, so I turn it over and I do a few more rolls. Now what I've got is a perfect depth, approximately 1 centimeter. As I mentioned, if you don't have a roller, then something like this and just indenting it in like that, you'll see is the same depth and it's going to achieve what I need. If you don't get the same depth for every seed, you're going to get uneven germination and it's going to cause an issue. Okay, next thing is seed. So this is my spring onion seed and this is my lettuce seed. The seed supplier is so important. You've got to make sure that you buy from a reputable supplier, and when you've got seed, if it's especially a fragile seed like lettuce, keep it in the fridge or in a nice cool dry place so that it doesn't go off. Now these seeds here might look a bit odd to you because they're quite big even though it's lettuce. This is iceberg lettuce. Now it's covered as a pellet, and the reason they've done that is primarily to help with the planting process so that the seeds aren't as fiddly, and you'll see with my spring onions there is an element of trying to get it right. So what I'm going to do on this tray is I'm just going to plant the first half in the middle here, and we're going to get going with it. So we drop one seed per hole, only one seed. If two fall in, pick it out. And what you'll see is the seeds are dropping nice into the center. Oh. Is get this into germination straight away. So the trick for that is I get another 2 seedling trays. And I put the one on top like that. There's the other one, and I put it upside down like that. Now the reason I put it upside down is it just keeps a little bit of space for those shoots to pop out. And because this is lettuce or iceberg, I'm going to put it somewhere nice and cool, ideally at around 18 degrees. I don't need a fancy incubation chamber, so I think where is the right place? Well, I know one of the coolest places on the farm in more ways than one is in my fish trout section. So what I'm going to do is take these down there, cover them up, and we'll start that germination process. So come with me, let's take it down. So lettuce planted. Now we're going to do our spring onion. This needs warm germination, so you're going to see how we do that. Exactly the same process. I'm going to make up my mix the same, no different. And if you're not sure where to get these products, I'll put the details in the descriptions below so you can find where we get them all from. All right, so we've just finished the planting of the seeds here into our trays, and now once we've done that, the absolute key is on germination. So these are spring onion. Now spring onion require warm germination. Remember, lettuce is cold germination, spring onion is warm germination. So what I need to do is create a hot, dark, humid environment for up to 2 weeks to enable that germination of these seedlings. So there's a very, very simple way to do it. So what I first of all do is I stack my seedling trays on top of each other like that. I then take an upside down seedling tray like this, put that bottom on top of it there, and I take another one upside down and I put it on top like that. So what that's going to do is help retain the moisture inside those seedling trays, and it's also going to help create that dark environment. Then what I'm going to do is bring it and just wrap it in normal plastic. And what you'll see here on my plastic is I've got a little bit of water there at the bottom. Now that is really key so that I can keep the moisture and humidity right. So very simply, I put it down like that. I wrap it up nice and tight. Fold it over, and then simply just put some bricks on top to stop it from unwrapping. There we go. So I'm going to leave that and check on it again in about a week's time, just to make sure that one, it's still nice and humid and not drying out, and two, I am looking for that first seedling to pop out that shows me that that germination has taken place. Upon seeing that first seedling pop out, I'm then going to unwrap it and expose them to light. So that's the spring onion, warm germination. Okay guys, here we are. It's been 2 days that I've had my lettuce seeds in germination. Now lettuce, as I've mentioned, it needs cold germination, and there's normally 2 days until I see those shoots coming out. Where have I put them? Well, this is actually one of the coolest areas on the farm. What I've got here is my trout system and tanks, so it stays nice and cool, usually around that 18-20 degree mark. But let's have a look and see how these are doing. All right, awesome. So what you'll see here is that almost everything is germinated. Now, if you have a nice close look, the key thing here with germination is if you leave them in the dark too long, the stalk here gets very long and spindly, and that will generate and be cause of a very unhealthy plant. So first sign of germination, as we've mentioned, let's go put it in the DWC. So those plants need access to light now. The moment they've germinated, they need light in order to develop a healthy leaf system. So we're going to leave those, monitor them over the next week, 2 weeks, and then they're going to be ready for transplanting. Welcome back. We've waited now 2 weeks for those spring onions. They've been sitting here in hot germination. Remember, hot germination, it needs to be warm, humid, and dark. So I've seen here, there's one that's starting to sprout up. If you have a look, got one there. Let's see how many others have popped up. And another one over here. So for me, the sign that actually there's another one. So I can see a number of them have started to pop up here, and that to me is reason enough to take it out of germination. That would have told me all of these seeds have now germinated. Now I want them to start to be able to get some light so they can start to photosynthesize and get some good leaf development. Okay, so let's just have a quick check-in on our spring onions. Again, we're about 2 days post germination of these spring onions, and we can see them all starting to pop up and develop those leaves. There are a few that are lagging, and as you can see, there are seeds that have still germinated but only just starting to pop up. They will continue to pop up over the next few days, and with these spring onion, when they get to the right size, 2 to 3 weeks time, we're going to show you how we do the transplanting of them. So we're going to be planting out all of these spring onions into our system, and you'll be able to see how we go about that process. But these are going to need a few weeks to really establish themselves and start growing. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you've learned a thing or two about planting, germination and seedlings. And don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notifications for our channel, and stay up to date every week as we post something new. All the best. Bye bye.